Great to have you with us. Now, firefighters have for the past 2 hours been battling an inferno which has engulfed a 3-story building at Makola. Goods including a lace fabric or lace fabrics, cosmetics and wigs have been destroyed in the blaze. Victims have been blaming fire personnel for a poor response. My colleague Manuel Kranting has been speaking to some of the traders who lost their wares.
What they told us was that they don't have water, so they are now feeling the attack before they come to us. That was what they told us. As what I know, fire service there, you need to feel every time, you need to know that there will be an emergency. So you need to be well prepared before you come. I learned when they came, they couldn't quench the fire.
But your shop is there. How much worth of goods do you have in a shop?
Also, 70,000.
70,000.
70,000. Over 70,000.
Over 70,000 Ghana cedis.
Even Saturday, you know, when you are engaging in buying and selling, you need to borrow. You borrow goods more than 5,000. Because we all got banned. All got banned. They said some of the cars are not working. They don't have car. They don't have. So I don't understand. We are in the country, but we are suffering. But we are suffering.
And this gentleman is telling me that his shop is in there, has goods worth 70,000 Ghana cedis. And I'll just describe to you, as I move across this portion, that the scene of the fire is just some 200 meters from the fire service station at the Central Business District, which gives you a really close proximity to the scene of the fire. And expectations, and as you just heard them express, the expectations that they had was that the proximity being really close to the scene of the fire, it would have been easier and quicker for the fire service to douse the flames. But the opposite, we are learning this morning, actually was what happened. And now the fire is blazing almost uncontrollably because there are explosions that we are seeing and hearing from the 2 floors that are worst hit by the inferno, the 2nd and then the 3rd floor.
Right, and that fire is still raging. Meanwhile, Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, Ellis Robinson Oko, tells Joy News 7 tenders have so far been discharged to fight the fire. He was assuring that his team has the inferno under control. Meanwhile, the Accra Mayor, Mohammed Nieje Soa, also visited the scene. He believes the firefighters are doing a great job and their challenge has been a lack of water in the fire hydrants around the scene.
The fire service personnel are fighting the fire to the best of what they can do. My information is that access to water has been the problem. At this moment, I want us to focus on fighting the fire. And then when we finish, we can do an assessment of the situation and give a proper report on what has transpired. Unfortunately, it's also very windy, and that's why the fire keep dashing out. It's quite pathetic. I mean, you can see the number of fire tenders here. At any point in time, you can see more than 5 fire tenders here. That tells you that we are not short of equipment and the personnel to fight it. But I think that water has become an issue, and we'll deal with that.
Access to water, that's the initial briefing that you've got. Access to water for the tenders was a challenge.
Yeah, so they have to go far. They have to go to Circle, Kaleshi to fetch water and come back, all the time.
So this is the Central Business District. Shouldn't we be having water hydrants?
We do have water hydrants, but we don't have enough water. That's the problem. There's water hydrant all over.
But there's not much water in them.
Yeah.
And that's been a challenge.
We'll go back to Manuel Kranting a bit later in the bulletin, but in the meantime, the body of a 33-year-old man has been found beheaded at Fiase in the Bosomtwe district of the Ashanti region. The victim has been identified as Israel Ejemenu, an Uber driver, and a search party of police and community members led to the retrieval of the head about 20 meters away from the location of the body. Circumstances leading to his death are not yet known. The incident adds to the number of unresolved murders in the Ashanti region. Nana Ojima was at the scene with the police and the community search party.
A woman in the area is said to have heard a loud cry, which ceased briefly. Some residents later found the fresh body of the deceased dumped on a pathway. The attention of the police was drawn to it immediately. Few minutes after 1, the police came in and picked the body of the deceased from the spot. Now residents, together with the police, have formed a search party to go into the bushes and help find the head of the deceased. It took few minutes to find the head, together with a mobile phone and a wallet containing cash. Assembly member Samuel Kwai says the deceased is unknown to them.
We waited for the crime scene from Shanti region. So they came, they did what they have to do. They made a thorough search for the head. And indeed, we went and found his head down there, getting close to the stream. Yeah, so that is what I saw or what I witnessed. Actually, I don't know. I don't know him. I've never seen him.
The head was found with many machete cuts. The area is under development with many uncompleted houses. Residents who are seeing this for the first time fear for their lives. We are living in fear. Now we have to be careful and know where to go. She says, I am sad and afraid. How can a human being commit such a crime? These are stories we hear on a daily basis, but today is my first time witnessing anything like this, she says.
Let's talk to Nanaya Ojima, who reported that incident. Nanaya, what more have we discovered about this?
What we know is that family of the deceased have now been to the police station to identify him. According to the family, the name of the individual is Israel Ejemenu, and he doubled as a taxi driver and also headmaster of a private senior high basic school here in Kumasi. Now, according to the family, they are still surprised and shocked at how their relative died and the circumstances under which he died. They do not know whether to ascribe it or describe it as a ritual murder or a targeted murder, but they are trusting the police to investigate the matter and find out who exactly killed their relative.
And we are learning that he called a friend of his to tell him that he was going to Fiyasi on a trip from Kumasi. So
the friend we are talking about is the first to report at the police station after seeing the vehicle of the deceased in circulation. So he went to the police and identified the family, identified the body, and through their friends, the family got to know about the incident. So this family has been to the police station. This friend you are talking about has been to the police station and also written his statement. So we are expecting the police, through the statement and the information they've gathered so far, be able to help investigate the matter to its logical conclusion.
Right, thank you very much, Nanaya Ojima, for bringing us that update. We understand that another man has been found dead in the Ashanti region. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin is with us to give us those details. Mahmoud, tell us, where was this man found?
Daniel, he was found at Tafu Pankrono Estate Market. There is a satellite market around that area, so he was found just around that area early hours of today. Right. According to the residents, they woke up and they saw the lifeless body of the man lying, and they don't know where he is. They don't know his identity, but he was butchered on the head, and the police had to come to carry the body and send it to the mortuary.
Sounds like a very grim scene that you described there. What have the people been saying? How are they feeling after this?
Well, this is the third time some people have been killed in the area. This is the third time. And then the residents are saying that they are very much concerned about their security, because in the past they could walk throughout the night, but now even when it is 9 p.m. they cannot go out because of poor security in the area. So they want the security personnel at the Tafo Pankrono Divisional Command to provide them with some security personnel who would patrol the area day and night, because it is becoming very difficult for them to move around in the night.
Right. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin, thank you very much for those updates. Let's move to other stories. And Joy News investigations have uncovered how some officials of the Ghana Immigration Service demand monies to allow illegal entry into the country through unapproved routes near the Aplau border. The officers were filmed on camera receiving various sums of money from travelers on these routes. This is in spite of President Akufo-Addo's announcement of a closure of land borders to limit the spread of COVID-19. Joy News' Kwetenate reports that his team was never subjected to the regular checks when entering the country through an unapproved route.
As part of government's effort to limit the spread of COVID-19, President Akufo-Addo announced the closure of the country's land borders. This closure forced a lot of traders to use unapproved routes along the already porous borders. So the Joy News investigative team went to Aplau to check how travelers and traders are able to cross the borders, which are supposed to be closed. Here at Aplau, I meet this commercial motor operator. I decide to call him Peter. He's been riding this bike in this town and carrying passengers across the border for many years. Now, with this official closure of the border, he still rides to Togo and returns with passengers every day.
Because people every day, but it's collect money for people.
How much do you collect?
10 cedis. Togo side 10 cedis. Yeah.
Ghana side too.
Ghana side 10 cedis.
Maybe his point is just a claim. So I decided to verify. He's given me a ride from Ghana to Togo. We meet this official of the Ghana Immigration Service at one of the unapproved routes.
Where are you coming from? Togo. You are coming from Togo. Are you a Ghanaian police?
He's demanding 5 Ghana cedis to allow us use the unapproved route into Ghana. We pay him and he allows the investigative team entry.
So me, I can tell you that you are not from Ghana. Bring 5 cedis and go. The money will go. Yeah, what do you know? When you read the office there, nobody is going to take this 5 cedis. He's going to do every document for you before you leave there.
At another checkpoint on the unapproved route, this heavily built man also requests that we pay 5 Ghana cedis to allow us passage into Togo. We count at least 2 persons who are made to pay similar amounts to a man in mufti, while Togolese security officials look on. After a long negotiation with a man in his early 30s at another unapproved route, agreed to let the investigative team pass after we paid 5 Ghana cedis. After crossing into Togo, we meet a man in his late 40s. He demands the team pays 5 Ghana cedis in order to allow us entry into Togo. He rejects a 2 Ghana cedi offer on the basis that the money will depreciate when changed into CFA franc. Clearly, the borders may be closed, but some unscrupulous individuals have created an avenue for the influx of foreigners amid a raging pandemic. Kwetenate's report, Joy News, Aplau.
Meanwhile, head of the Ghana Immigration Service Public Affairs Unit Superintendent Makola said they will probe the evidence and punish errant officers if found culpable.
The borders of Ghana, as far as I know, is still landlocked. The president has not given any directives that the border should be open apart from the international airport, Kotoka International Airport. The borders are closed. And there are no fees charged at the points of entry, no. As long as one meets the requirements for entry or exit, that's when the borders were opened. Then you are free to exit the country or to enter. We don't charge fees at the points of entry or departure.
We found out that some immigration officials and middlemen have pitched camps and take fees from individuals and either allow them into Ghana or into Togo. Is this something that has come to your attention?
Yes, definitely. We work with intelligence as frontline border security agency. We work with intelligence, and this came to the fore, and the Comptroller General has given some directive to that effect to all border commanders, even including regional commanders, to ensure that they constantly monitor their officers on the ground, especially at the patrol bases, and also ensure as a means of deterrent that officers on patrol or on field operations wear their name tags, so that if anyone should misconduct himself or herself, then the members of the public can identify them by name and make an official complaint. And also, they are also to have constant engagement by visiting the officers on the grounds to interact with them, and apart from raising their morale, to also to ensure that they conduct the operations within the confines of our regulations.
We have found some officials and even middlemen who are taking advantage of the closed border, and even those who use unapproved routes and are taking monies from them to allow them entry. We were actually part of a team that experimented this. If this comes to your attention, what does the Immigration Service intend doing about it?
If we watch what you have, and yes, it shows or depicts officers of the Ghana Immigration Service misconducting themselves in such a manner as you are describing, I believe the appropriate sanctions will be meted out. Somewhere last year, yes, again, I said based on intelligence, 4 officers at the Flow Sector Command who misconducted themselves in the way you are describing now were immediately interdicted by the Comptroller General.
Now, you're still live on Joy News today. Let's go back to that earlier story where Manuel Kranting is standing by at Makola with updates on the fire. Manuel, tell us what you've observed.
Well, Daniel, behind me, we can now see the fire officers. They've now breached the building from the rear. Now they are in the building itself. I saw them pass the hose, the water hose from one point to the other, climb the staircase to have access into the building. Now they are taming the flames in the middle of the building. And you remember that I reported to you about an hour ago that the fire and the flame was blazing at the center of the building because it seemed to us that there was a concentration of combustible materials in that part of the building. Well, now we have seen men from the fire service climb up the building and attempt to douse the flames there. Still though, we can see pockets of fire at the edges of the building still blazing out, with the lintel and then some of the pillars almost falling off. And that's what we're having here at the Makola market. We're on the avenue, and just about 2 blocks from the building that is currently on fire is the GCB Makola branch. Attempts have been made quite frantically to get the fire from extending to other portions of the building. For now though, it's a lot of dilemma for the traders at Makola, some of who have their wares burnt to ashes. I just speak to a few of the people who are standing by here to get an appreciation of how the fire started and really the extent of damage as they've been seen. Madam, as a wage in a hatchet, now, it jano, what has started?
I made me baby tired. It's me do and the nail were hand here and then sit down go inside the sir. It's not yummy one says still now, ain't me do with Janma and do me. They just send me bem, they just send me.
And she says that, well, she is actually here to buy something. And at the point she got here, the fire was just burning at the entrance. It was a really small, little fire. For now, it's extended to almost all the parts of the building. And she says, according to her, that they need God's intervention to get the flames to be doused. I'll just refer you to a few of the official comments that we've gotten within the hour from officialdom. Well, the mayor of Accra, Mohammed Nia J. Soa, confirmed to us that there was a challenge with access to water. And I put a question to him about whether or not we do have hydrants, because within the Central Business District, the expectation will be that there will be water hydrants at vantage points for some of these purposes. Well, he confirms that there are hydrants, but these hydrants are low on water. And that's the reason that it took the fire service so long to fill their tenders and begin dousing the flames.
I've
spoken to DO1 Ellis Robinson Oko, who speaks for
joining us this afternoon on the bulletin. We'll get more on that a bit later in the day. Let's move back to a Chimoto school where 135 students have tested positive for COVID-19, with most cases said to have the new Delta variant. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma-Boaji, says his outfit is embarking on public education and disinfection of schools to combat the new outbreak. Speaking at a media briefing Sunday, he stated that there is a sharp increase in case count, and this is a result of a lack of compliance to safety protocols. There's more in this report.
According to the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma-Boaji, the first 3 cases were detected in some students between 14th and 16th June this year. Briefing the press on Sunday, he explained that the development sparked a mass testing regime in the school.
Between the 14th and the 16th of June 2021, 3 students presented to the Chimoto school sick bay with an influenza-like symptom like cough and fever, among others. All 3 were investigated for COVID-19 in line with the laid-down protocols. The 3 posted positive, prompting the activation of the Public Health Emergency Response Team of the Greater Accra region, and led by the Okaikwe North Municipality, where the school falls. All 3 students were isolated following existing protocols. Other symptomatic students, which are contacts, were identified and listed, also tested for COVID-19. And all the contacts before during testing was put under mandatory quarantine until the results came.
In all, 843 persons, including students and staff, were sampled as of 1st July 2021. He said out of 550 samples received, 135 returned positive.
So far, as at the 3rd of July, because of an enhanced approach trying to contain the situation, we've done about 843 students and staff have been sampled. 348 of them are boarding students, 459 are day students, 36 of them are teaching and non-teaching staff have been tested. We have received results for about 550 samples out of the 843 samples. In fact, yesterday, over 250 samples were taken. And so those are the results we are waiting. I'm sure by the end of the day, the results will be in and be able to come up more clearly.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Health Service and the Ghana Education Service say measures are being put in place to improve health and education in Chimoto school. This includes the enforcement of infection prevention and control protocols on campus.
Now, the predictions have become a reality. Ghana has recorded the contagious Delta variant of COVID-19 in samples taken from the community. But here's the bigger problem. Immunologists at the West Africa Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, Dr. Yao, is asking us to brace ourselves for more transmissions of this new strain due to poor adherence to protocols.
Oh, there's no surprise. I mean, this is what we predict. We've been predicting for the last few weeks, based on what we had observed or what had happened in other countries around the world with regards to Delta. It's the most highly transmissible variant that has emerged so far. And if back to December and January, when the Alpha variant, otherwise known as the UK variant, emerged, it started in the same way. It began in Greater Accra and Ashanti. Those are our main sort of hotspots typically, and then began to spread to a point where nearly all the samples we sequenced were Alpha. Delta is much more transmissible even than Alpha, and so it remains to be seen how it would spread. But we are expecting that now that it's in the community, we are likely only seeing a tip of the iceberg. We have to remember that our sequencing throughput is still very low, so we are not sequencing every positive sample that is detected. And our testing, I mean, I know that now with the Chimoto outbreak, the Ghana Health Service has begun to institute a bit more mass testing in that school. But it is possible that there are a large number of asymptomatic infections that are in other places that we are simply just not testing, or even if we are testing and finding positive, we are not sequenced. So, the fact that you detected it, and now it's relatively easy to detect Delta, suggests that the prevalence of the Delta variant in Ghana is already relatively high and is growing.
Live on Joy News today, let's learn a bit more about the Delta variant. It dominated the headlines since it was discovered in India. It caused a serious surge of the disease in the country and eventually spread to the rest of the world. Here's more you need to know about the strain. It says here the Delta variant is more contagious than the other virus strains. Unvaccinated people are at risk. Delta could lead to hyperlocal outbreaks, which are basically large outbreaks in small areas. Now, there is still more to learn about the Delta variant, and vaccination is the best protection against Delta. Away from COVID-19, Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah has cautioned Christians to do more in helping deal with moral decadence in society. He says despite the country having a good number of Christians, crime and other unacceptable behaviors continue to dominate the media space. Speaking at the launch of the centenary celebration of the Salvation Army Ghana in Tema, he called on members to uphold tenets of the faith.
The Salvation Army Ghana started in the country in 1922 by a native of Aguna-Diakwa, Lieutenant King Hudson, also known as Amakwata. Having traveled to the United Kingdom in search of a better life, he encountered God through the Salvation Army. He returned home and started the church at Aguna-Diakwa, currently in the Central Region. Over the years, the church has gone beyond saving souls to play its role in national development through provision of amenities. These include hospitals, schools, school training centers, among other facilities. At the launch of the church centenary, Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah lauded the church for its role in society. He, however, challenged the church and Christians at large to help work on the moral fabric of society.
Comments have been brief. Essentially, to congratulate you on all that you have done globally and here in Ghana in the last 99 years, and to wish you well for the years ahead. In celebrating the impact that you have made in medical care, education, and vocational services across the country, I've also been invoking the words of Matthew, chapter 5, 13 to 16, that we are the salt of the earth and the light of the world. The daily reminder of the difficulties, crimes, and unacceptable behavior around us in a country where Christianity is high, reminds us that we have to do more as salt of the earth and as a light of the world.
Meanwhile, Territorial Commander of the Salvation Army Ghana, Colonel Dr. Samuel Amponsa says, moral decadence is a threat to society. He was particularly worried about increasing cases of money rituals, LGBT activities, crime, and other vices.
In some of the villages, we are there. We have a lot of clinics, hospitals, we have schools, and we have other vocational centers, rehabilitation centers in our communities to assist those who are deprived so that they will be elevated from their deprived lives, and so that they will be able to get to a certain level in their living conditions. And Salvation Army is also waging war against anything that is going against our society, LGBTQ and that businesses. We are against it. We are not against the human being, but we are preaching against that habit, that people should not involve themselves in that kind of habit.
Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Kojo Kum, on behalf of the ministers, made a cash donation of 4,000 Ghana cedis to support the launch. Other dignitaries were present. The centenary, which will be celebrated next year, is on the theme, Christ our goal, yesterday, today, and forever. Kwame Yankes reports for Joy News.
You're live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Up next is business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwa. We have been reporting of a fire outbreak at the Makola market, but elsewhere in the Ashanti region, at the KGTL market, they are having to deal with the impact of flooding. So I want to bring you that story because the traders there are blaming city authorities and the construction firm Constructor for the flooding that occurred there last Wednesday and Thursday. More in this report from Kumasi.
Thursday's rains left many traders and residents devastated. Roof leakages at the new KGTL market was an eyesore. Some leaders of the traders blame construction firm Contractor for shoddy work. Patricia Echampon is disappointed.
Contractor, adie we oye media me hu ni se amwadwa no. Gatas no emususa. Enti nsuo na eba no. Eduru baabi a even baabi o ma ye kro mo de ade ato so no. Enam se emusuo ni ntino. Nsuo ade na dade na atimi ye den epeja. Nsuo na ho ode no eboro so na apeja no. Ti sa ade no muso na emu ya akese na nka nsuo no nya kwan penetrate na menyi ni se nka betimi aye den abese ahasa.
Consultant to the multinational firm Contractor, Emmanuel Danso considers the flooding to be a widespread disaster, not peculiar to KGTL market. He says the drainage system connecting racecourse to zoo and other areas around the market were choked. Mr. Danso cautioned traders against indiscriminate disposal of solid waste.
The mainstream that comes from zoo has a lot of contributing factor from Pampaso, Mrum, all the surroundings join zoo and then passes through KGTL. So I feel that major garbages that they put into the drain has been the cause of the distance. I believe we all have to look at Kumasi drainage system. That might be the cause.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the KGTL Petty Traders Association, Nana Prempe, has called for the re-engineering of the drainage system.
In other news, the micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, are being encouraged to explore and venture into environmentally focused businesses. Now, players in the MSME sector believe the budding area holds a key to solving many societal problems as well as enhancing business sustainability. The United Nations Capital Development Fund, together with SNV under the Green Project, is spearheading the initiative to support such businesses.
One main challenge that impedes the growth of startups, entrepreneurs and MSMEs have been access to credits and sustainability. Under the Green Project, United Nations Capital Development Fund (UNCDF) has partnered the SNV to support the incubation of new or early-stage green businesses. Angela Yaira Kwashi is technical advisor with the UNCDF.
When it comes to SMEs, one of the main issues is access to finance, how to build their small enterprises, how to scale it up. And access to finance being a major challenge. So access to finance under Result 3 is where we give them the opportunity to get in touch with these financial institutions, micro-financial institutions, when it comes to access to finance, so that they build a relationship with these beneficiaries.
With support from the European Union, early-stage businesses will benefit from incubation and other technical support systems. Ms. Kwashi says it is important to boost the sector's performance.
The MMDs currently have all selected their intervention projects, so they are ready to start with the project itself. The funds have been released by the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, who is the implementing partner or the anchor ministry of the Green Project.
She said this at a week-long training of trainers program for SOF staff to train cash for work recipients to improve their employability skills. Shaibu Husseini is project coordinator for SOS Green Project.
We are doing a training of trainers program for the SOS trainers on the Green Project. And the Green Project is targeting training for 4,000 cash for work beneficiaries. These beneficiaries will gain some short-term or temporary jobs where they will be paid the daily minimum wage of 13 cedis.
The group for a week held an exhibition for green businesses in Kumasi meant to strengthen local ecosystems that support youth employment and the growth of SMEs.
And that's your business update for now. The news continues after this break.